Next, the latest channel update is coming up on your screen. There you have it. These are the numbers that have come up, and we can see that DDHQ is given Donald Trump 242. We know that 270 is the number he has to reach to, claim the presidency for a second time. So, I mean, if that poll is correct, if they've called it right, then he's not far away. So these are the numbers that we were showing you on the screen. Clearly, of course, as Shubhendu was also telling us, and as we have been telling you, that it's moving from East Coast to West Coast, so the counting. So actually, the West Coast is where all the blue wall is, and that is a significant Democratic stronghold. So none of those votes have actually come in as yet. They've not been counted as yet. So it looks like a clean sweep for the Republicans currently, but Donald Trump has to reach the 270 number to be safely, elected as the president. Otherwise, there's still a chance for Kamala Harris. And this is the current situation, 207. This is as per the Reuters, 207 for Trump and 91 for Harris. There are a number of states to the left of to the right of your screen, to the left as you look at it, which is still not counted. Amritpal Singh is with us. He's joining us from West Palm Beach in Florida. Amrit, of course, the mood in Florida must be pretty, upbeat right now because, if these trends continue and the projections continue, then Donald Trump is, just a few steps away from reaching his, his second term.
Yes, Mark, you're right. The mood is upbeat because they're trying to project these numbers as a victory for Donald Trump. Anybody who would put a cursory glance at them would believe that Donald Trump is inching towards victory. But you have to look close enough. The devil is in the detail, and I'm sure the strategist sitting behind me in that beach house of Donald Trump, which is also the Republican headquarters at the moment, those strategists know very well for themselves that victory, that the picture is still not clear. And I'll explain why I say that. The numbers that you say vary from 242 to 207 and 270 needed, but if you look close enough, they could be misleading. Mm-hmm. That is not to say that these projections are untrue. That is to say that the states where Democrats traditionally win, and they are big states like California, 54. It will drastically change the number once California votes, while California's trends are out. So it is yet the picture is still emerging. If you look at the states, most of them, none of the states have flipped. They voted traditionally where they are. If I can go down to the states, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina projected red. They were always red. Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, traditionally Colorado, traditionally blue. None of the states have flipped. They continue to remain red, and the states that were blue continue to remain blue. Now that is why in this whole election, the swing states and the previous election, swing states are important. Now let's go at the swing states, and we'll understand what these numbers do not reflect the whole reality. Georgia, 90% vote counted. It's a swing state.
Right, and 51% is in Trump's favor, as things stand.
3%, yes. So the lead over Kamala that he has is just about 3%. So it's neck and neck. I'm not saying in the rest 10% counting it will change. Looks Georgia is going to go red. Let's look at the other blue state, other swing state, I'm sorry.
Right.
North Carolina.
Right.
Trump again has a 3% lead with 86% vote counts. Too close to call. Could go the Trump way, but too close, still too close to call.
Within the
Networks
margin
are
of
not
error,
calling
yes.
it.
All right.
Because it is too close to call because of the margin error. You're right. Pennsylvania. Now Trump, this is your blue wall state, the must win for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump has an advantage of 3% over 70 with 71% votes cast. 30%, remember, still have to come in. We don't know right now what counties these are based on. You know, what we call the blue states, I was in Texas, it's called the red state.
Right.
But I was in Austin, I was in Houston, they're decidedly blue. They're decidedly blue. Cities
So were you in
are blue.
Atlanta? Were you in
So we don't
Atlanta
know
as well?
What county? No, I wasn't in Atlanta.
All right,
Georgia, I think Shubhendu was in Atlanta. Yes, Shubhendu was.
okay.
I wasn't. I was in San Francisco. San Francisco.
But you were in Philadelphia,
California,
weren't you in
decidedly
Philadelphia?
blue
Were you in
state.
Philadelphia?
I was. I was.
Right, okay.
And you know, Philadelphia, the city is voting blue. Walk or drive 10 miles out. I drove 10 miles. I went to the Bucks County. I went to the Montgomery County. You see Donald Trump and flags and cuttings and hoardings everywhere at house lawns, placards planted, decidedly red. So there is a difference. We still don't know what votes that these surveys are basing them on, these projections. But these projections with 90% vote count, unless it's like 3% or something, it's not going to change. But 3% is too close to call. So the American networks themselves are not calling these states. If you look at, so basically almost all the states, the swing states that have been counted, Wisconsin, Trump has just a 2% lead with 60% of the votes counted. So clearly what I'm trying to say here is that if you read the trends of the swing states, which are going to decide who the next president of the United States of America is. Okay, Arizona, 50% votes counted, Trump's lead 1%.
It's very minor, yeah, it's a very
could
small
very
amount.
well change. So,
It's 0.1%.
it is the election is not over. The overall electors numbers could be misleading, and the guys sitting in Mar-a-Lago really know that. The messaging for their voters they may be doing or their supporters may be doing that we are getting back to the White House. Mark.
Sure, but given the fact that these leads are holding for some time, one usually predicts based on that. Of course, the networks are not calling them because the leads are not big enough, but they continue to hold. The chances are that, these will remain red. In that case, then Donald Trump is through, isn't it?
I don't know that. I really don't know the answer to that because the lead is so close. I'm talking about the swing states here. The lead, Trump is leading. Yes, it continues. No, it's not holding. It's going up and down. About an hour back, Kamala was leading in Pennsylvania. Now Trump is ahead. Arizona again is too close to call. Now, remember, this is what is being counted is the in-person voting. There is about 82 million votes that have been cast in early voting. A sizable chunk of that is mail-in votes. They open last because they have to be verified. It takes a while for them to be counted. So, which way those votes have gone will decide, will be decisive. So when it's that close to call, they have to wait for all votes to call in the election. You can call in the election where there is a decisive lead, where Kamala is leading in the blue states with 41%. You can discount the mail-in votes and say if that's the trend, well, call in the state in favor of the Democrats. The same for the red. For the swing states, when the lead is so close, and as projected by pre-poll surveys that it's neck and neck, it is really difficult to say. So I think right now the picture is still not clear. who,
Sure.
who will sit in the Oval Office. For
So
the
you
next
tell
4
us
years.
that the
picture,
mail-in voting, Amrit, is counted right at the end, is it? And what is the percentage of mail-in voting? Because it looks like, what, 88% of the votes have already been counted. So, or maybe all the rest of the votes are mail-in votes that are probably left to be counted.
No, what happens is that in early voting, there are two kinds of voting. One, in-person voting, the other is the mail-in voting. So about 82 million votes were cast in early voting. We do not, though the breakup numbers are still not very clear because it's county-wise. They don't put out the numbers, but they broadly put out that these many are, this much vote has been cast. The mail-in, the general sense here is that about 40% of the 82% cast are mail-in votes. Now, when they open, because they open one, the last, second, they have to be verified, because it's like you receive an email on your ballot and you reply back. So there could be fraud, and that's what Donald Trump's been hinting at, without evidence though. So what they do is to prevent fraud on that, they verify that. That is a long process. Sometimes mail-in votes come in till about 12th November. The results come in by about 12th November. So it is a while before the mail-in votes, the final results come in. Now mail-in votes, if you have a 40% lead in the in-person voting, then you can discount the mail-in vote and saying it's not going to reverse the trend. So it's easy to call in the state. But if it's 1%, 2%, 3%, mail-in votes will make all the difference. So that is why I'm insisting that the picture is still not clear.
Absolutely, and in fact, during the course of our conversation,
does not.
Yeah, during the course of our conversation, Amritpal, we can see that now the blue states on the left have started to be counted, and they've already been declared blue by some of the networks. So Kamala Harris has moved to 153 to Donald Trump's 211. So the gap is closing. And we're going to take a short break, but stay with us, Amrit. We'll be back with you.
Who will be the next president of the US? America decides. DD India reports from Ground Zero.
An election on razor's edge. From the economy to democracy, the stakes can't get any higher. It's Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Watch
Race to the White House as the finish line approaches. Live and exclusive coverage only on DD India.